Hello and welcome to today's Digital Lounge. I'm your host, Mark Britton, and in this episode, we're diving into one of the biggest barriers to digital transformation: disconnected systems. Joining us on this session is one of our regular guests, Tom Cadman. Welcome to the show, Tom. Tom's Crimson's Digital Transformation Director. Welcome back, Tom.
Hi,
How are you
Mark.
doing today? You all right?
Yeah, fine, thanks.
Good, good. In your blog From Silo to Streamlined, you explain why integration is more than just a technical exercise. It's the foundation for eliminating inefficiencies, enabling real-time decision-making and delivering a better customer experience. But I suppose in this short podcast, we want to understand a little bit more about what smart integration really looks like. And we want to ask, how can organizations move beyond siloed processes, and what roles do platforms like Dynamics and Power Platform play in building a connected, intelligent business? That's what we're unpacking with Tom today. So, Tom, welcome to the show. In the blog, you describe integration as a strategy, not just a feature. Can you elaborate on what that means in practice and how leaders should approach integration differently to maybe what you're seeing today, so that they can shape that digital strategy?
Hi, Mark. The obvious things here, Mark, is thinking about integration in the old days. We used to talk about say tactical integrations, one system to another system. Obviously, the big push was then looking at sort of highly cohesive systems, loosely coupled, all those sort of things. But I think the world now has moved on in terms of thinking about industry standards, data formats, and etc. in that side. And how does integration not just play then in terms of bringing data from one system to another system, but also thinking about now with the rise of AI, how that data is going to be used for decisioning, automation, etc. How does it integrate my processes together for, if we're going to be using intelligent bots in the future, agents, agentic AI, how does that data manifest itself? How do you use your decisions, etc. in that space? And again, it's just taking a step back, looking at your data, understanding the standards that fit in there and how that data flows between our various systems. And obviously then thinking about the data governance that sits around it, because you've got to be very careful in the future. If you're going into AI, you need to obviously understand how that data is going to be utilized, the data governance, the data standards, and obviously you need to be able to demonstrate how that information is being used, the best practice of AI, and how you utilize that information.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about building your AI strategy last year at the conference. This year, we're going into some more detail and talking about data. But I mean, well, we've both been in the industry for a long time, haven't we? And siloed systems has always been a challenge. Fragmented data, poor customer experiences as a result. I mean, what do you see these days as the most significant organizational or cultural barrier to trying to break these silos down once and for all? How do we overcome this?
Well, we are faced, Mark, with the world of heritage systems. We've got obviously a lot of organizations that are still using systems that probably don't even have APIs and integrations. I know we had a challenge with one of our clients where we have to do things with robotic process automation, things of that ilk, and we're trying to emulate the screen interactions to push data into one of our, one of our school-based student record systems. And it was a bit of a challenge then in terms of understanding that interaction, the validation rules that sit around it, etc. And again, industry standards, if you can get to it where you can get those things to work that way, then it makes life a lot easier in terms of doing sort of things in that nature. Obviously, you've got to start thinking about the non-functional elements of any integration: performance, security. Invariably, are you dealing with what we call a composite pattern? So you're dealing in sort of, it's not just, for example, a student record, but you need to pass across all of the associated, maybe it's the admission side you're integrating. You need to think about all of the associated records and making sure they're all coming across at the same time.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned higher education there, and of course, in the blog, you talk about those tangible benefits of integration. But I mean, from your view, what are the real world use cases have you seen where smart systems integration transform not just operations, but the way teams or customers experience the organization?
We're increasingly seeing more because of the challenge, especially if we talk about higher education. Invariably, universities are under pressure in terms of both being efficient, both in terms of also attracting the right students, especially moving into international markets, etc. Invariably, what you're trying to do then is make sure you can bring that data in, you can validate it, you can then utilize that information to actually make smart decisions in terms of whether it's automated decisions. So you're making offers to students based on, I don't know, in terms of what they've applied for, based on what's their academic qualifications, whether it's based on their language proficiency, etc., or their entry requirements for the course. You're having to think about all of those things being brought together, how you can rules that rules engine to drive it and make the intelligent decisions. Key to that is understanding where those data comes from. So if your emissions and applications are coming from what an existing system, maybe a university using SITS or Elution or Tribal or anything of that nature, how does that data manifest itself into my CRM system? How does it go into my automated decisioning rules? How does it go upwards into data and insights so you get the feedback loop? Or maybe you want to take it into personalizing your offers. All of those things are now integrated across the board.
Yeah, I mean, this technology is moving so fast, and you've touched on a few just in the last few minutes. I mean, looking ahead, how do you envision this sort of smart system integration? How do you see that evolving over the next few years? You've mentioned AI. We've of course got the low-code platforms now. Real-time analytics are starting to mature. What advice would you give to leaders in those organizations to ensure they're ready for this future and this fast evolving landscape?
Well, again, it's all joined up, Mark. You've got to understand ultimately what's your end game in terms of your processes, what's your business outcomes that you're trying to achieve, whether it's ultimately you're growing your business or you're trying to be more efficient on your business. What are your outcomes you're trying to drive? Where does my data come from? Where does my data go to? Yeah. If we talk about agentic AI, and I know we're obviously overlapping here in this side, then in the future you're going to have, if you talk about the new world, business systems are also evolving now in terms of it's almost like agent systems talking to each other. So you'll have agent bots talking to other agent bots, and you get into model context servers and things of that nature, where you're describing another layer of your business in the using metadata, so these agents can talk to each other. Never mind systems talking to each other. So it's the world is moving at such a pace and keeping up to speed with this. And it's
Yeah.
planning for this and planning your outcome, planning your roadmap, understand what is the role of my existing systems and where's my data feeds coming from and going to, and how do I utilize that data? And again, it's been around for a few years. Data is the new oil, as we can describe it. How do I use that data to its advantage?
Yeah, yeah, and then the discussion continues on data. Tom, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for unpacking that for us today. I know you've got a lot on your plate as always, so thank you
No,
for joining us on the
no
Digital
problem.
Lounge. Thank you. Okay, so that's it for today's Digital Lounge. We hope you liked it. Please send us a message. Let us know what you'd like to see on future editions of the Digital Lounge. We are planning our content for next year at the moment. And of course, if your organization is struggling with fragmented data, having challenges around those disconnected systems, do give us a call. We're here. We're Microsoft partners. We do have access to proof of concept funding from Microsoft, so we can uh, often help with getting that business case ready for the organization. We're ready to go. And that's it for now. But in the meantime, I encourage you to have a look at Crimson's blog. Have a look at Tom's recent blog on the topic of systems integration. Just go to blog.crimson.co.uk. But until the next time, we'll see you soon on the Digital Lounge.